What's going on, guys? I am Ryan Johnson. I'm a local realtor here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I call home with my family. In today's video, we're going to go through a bunch of the things that why I think Alpharetta is the place to be if you're moving to greater Atlanta. And then at the end, we're going to talk about some things that over the course of living here, I've kind of grown to dislike or that may not be as great as people make it seem. Now, I do have some awesome bonus content for you guys as far as free downloads for those that stay to the end. But if you do like the video, feel free to like, subscribe to the channel where we are going to talk about all things Northern Georgia real estate, neighborhoods, and towns. Now, we're going to touch on the location as far as Alpharetta goes, what to expect as far as living here, downtown Alpharetta, neighboring towns, things to do, outdoor activities, public schools, the real estate market. We'll go through it all and kind of my experiences navigating everything. Now, as a father of two girls, a lot of what we're going to touch on is very important to me and kind of why I've gravitated over my 10 years of living in Atlanta, out of the city and into the suburbs, and specifically Alpharetta. Now, as far as the location goes, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to beat. We are north of the city, but you do feel like you are close enough that you have access to everything. Now, Alpharetta has a few different zip codes and it is larger than people think it is. So one of the things that I always take note of, especially when showing clients, is how close are you to highway access? As far as Alpharetta goes, we have Georgia 400, which is our main highway that runs north and south from the city. So it's going to take you essentially from the airport up through Atlanta, through Buckhead, all the way through the suburbs and up to the mountains. Now, this is nice because depending on where you are in Alpharetta or the neighboring areas, you can access it pretty easily and get right back into the city. This makes commuting very convenient if necessary. Outside of just commuting, you really get an opportunity to pop up to the mountains and explore kind of the wineries, the hiking, the Appalachian Trail if you want to. It's an easy route and trip up to Tennessee and North Carolina. One of the wonderful things about where we're located, being a little bit northern suburbs, is the proximity to Lake Lanier, which is our man-made lake and really gives an opportunity without having to drive down to the coast to get that beach or water access. The lake is absolutely massive and provides plenty of opportunities for boating, fishing, family activities. There is a resort in the middle of it and a golf course that is way more difficult than I thought it was going to be due to all of the water challenges. Now, if golf's not necessarily your speed, one of the nice things is being so close to the highway does give us access to all of the North Georgia wineries. And when I tell you there are plenty, you could spend an entire weekend just hopping from place to place. The scenery is beautiful. It's rolling topography with mountains as backdrops. It really creates a nice atmosphere to just go, get out, and really enjoy some of these family-owned businesses and Georgia wines. Another benefit of Alpharetta is proximity not only to the highway, but we are near all of the major satellite offices for the hospitals. So whether that's Northside, Wellstar, Emory, we have access to a lot of the healthcare needs that people are looking for, especially if they're downsizing or relocating. We get a lot of people that are coming from the Northeast or out West, and it is important not only to have that access to the city, but also their healthcare needs. And as you go a little bit further, you will also find more 55 plus communities if that is something that is important. Another prime benefit that I think really gets overlooked as far as Alpharetta as a whole is the surrounding towns are pretty much just as fantastic as Alpharetta is. You have Roswell, Johns Creek, Cumming, Milton, and all of those places offer a lot of the same benefits as Alpharetta with slightly different personalities. We're going to cover each of those in upcoming videos, so don't worry about that. I will make sure to do a full dive as I've lived in most of them as well. Now, jumping in to Alpharetta itself, let's focus on the downtown area. Now, situated between exit 10 and 11 off Georgia 400 is going to be downtown Alpharetta. And over the past decade, they have done an incredible job of building this up. It's not in the sense where it's overly commercialized, but they've gone out of their way to still make it feel quaint and charming. So all of the buildings, whether they're new or old, are going to kind of have that brick exterior that looks like it's an old town and you're kind of just going in for a stroll. Now, what they've done with the downtown area specifically is really nice because you have City Hall right there, but you also have the library, which is great for kids and families, and then this massive green space. The green space is artificial turf, so you can use it year round. There's a fountain there. It really creates a nice atmosphere for kids to run around. As far as as holiday goes, they do put up a massive Christmas tree, and it's a great backdrop for photos. Now, around the square are a bunch of shops, restaurants, and boutiques. This is great because on the weekends, they actually start Saturday mornings with the farmers market, which is a bunch of local vendors all set up from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you can kind of go and peruse wares or get, whether it's vegetables, foods, snacks, things for the kids, and just kind of mingle with the local community. The downtown area has wonderful restaurants. Some of my personal favorites are Smoke Jack for barbecue. Crust Pizza is phenomenal. You have La Pierre, which is a great seafood steak place for a date night. And then you also have more of your local staples if you're just looking to catch a beer in the game. You have Jekyll Brewing, you have Cure Heat Brewing, a few different places. Chiringa is amazing for their margarita slushies. So there's kind of this option where, whether you're single, married, have kids, don't have kids, there's something for everyone there. A lot of the shops are also local small businesses, some that have fantastic artwork that you can buy from local artists, clothing, accessories, anything you may be looking for. There's also plenty of apartments available and local housing communities all in walking distance to the square, which makes it really appealing for a lot of reasons. A few years ago, they actually just opened the Hamilton Hotel, which is kind of the boutique hotel that gives you all of that access if you are traveling to the area. And then beneath it is a hidden gem of Roaring Social. Now, this is a speakeasy where you walk in the top floor and it's kind of set in this 1930s barbershop tone where you have to ping them down below and say you're here for a cut or your tailor cleaning pickup. And then they'll buzz you in, you'll go down the stairs, and underground is this amazing setup with a bar. There's miniature bowling, and they have a band playing pretty regularly on the weekends as well. Our company actually does our holiday party there. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend checking that out. You also have plenty of rooftop options where if you just want to get a little elevated from the square to be able to enjoy a meal or a drink and kind of watch the sunset, all of that is just really packed into an area that they've made super walkable and really feel very inviting. And that's kind of one of the nice things where you have all of the access you need in terms of like local major retail shops, restaurants, your grocery stores, Costco, but also right there, kind of that charming out of town feel where it doesn't feel like you're in the hustle and bustle of everything. They've also started making everything very connected, whether it's Alpha Loop, which is kind of our northern version of a Beltline for people to be able to walk, bike, get places, which also feeds into Big Creek Greenway, which is just a larger extension of that kind of goes through a bunch of neighborhoods and is more biking and walking trails. The nice thing about the loop is it'll bring us directly into the other part of downtown Alpharetta, which is going to be Avalon. For those that are getting off, right, the highway, exit 10, you can actually see it as you're coming in. Avalon is kind of an all-in-one mixed-use development. Now, this has tons of housing options, whether you're looking for rental apartments, there are townhouses that you can buy and large attached single-family homes as well. And then it's going to be similar to downtown Alpharetta, where a lot of shops, restaurants, things to do, and kind of all in one place. There's also the Avalon Hotel with its convention center that you can host events at. When I got married, our wedding party actually stayed there. The staff is absolutely fantastic. And then all of your guests have easy access to go grab a meal, do some shopping. There's movie theaters right there, the Regal Cinemas. They have their own green space, and they put on tons of events and concerts for families and kids alike. One of the things about downtown Alpharetta and Avalon is that it's open container. So you can walk around, you can enjoy a beverage, and there's no real tie to keep you in one specific place. You can be on the move and kind of just enjoy all of the local surroundings. Now, as far as outdoor activities go, we did touch up on some of the things with Alpha Loop and Big Creek Greenway. Those are going to be the main trails. Now, the city is doing a lot to make Alpharetta as connected as possible, especially around that downtown area in Avalon. So the planning committee has a lot coming in the years as far as increasing the size of sidewalks, increasing Alpha Loop exposure, especially as they continue to develop more mixed-use communities between exit 9 and 12. which is going to be your big congregation of like Alpharetta as a whole. One of the things that has been super enjoyable for us, especially with kids, is really just the park accessibility, where if you're over near downtown Alpharetta, kind of on the west side of 400, you have Wills Park, which is absolutely massive. They have a very large swimming pool center, which is open to the public. It has a massive water slide for kids. It's also where you would go for soccer games, baseball, any sporting activities. There's 2 different playgrounds for kids. There's tennis courts, basketball courts, and there is actually a horse riding center directly next to it as well. So if the equestrian lifestyle is your scene, that's how close you are to be able to do all of those things. Coming on the east side of 400, you have wonderful parks like OC, which is going to be a little bit smaller, but also have that playground accessibility for kids, lots of sporting events, and then Webbridge Park. Webbridge Park is probably our new favorite spot, where it's tucked away among a setting of trees. It's very private. You have the front half of it, which it creates a giant loop around, and it's one big walking trail. So people can kind of hike in there, they can walk and really feel that they're outside of the city, even in the sense of just being in the suburbs. It's very peaceful and nice to kind of just enjoy nature. On the back end of it, they have gone above and beyond as far as creating a park for kids where it's partitioned into different age groups. You have a park that's more geared on young kids, then one area for toddlers, and then an area that's still great for newborns. They actually built kind of a stream that runs through it so kids can play in the water. There's a sand pit, and really a lot of options for parents to be able to access all of these things and be able to just kind of get out of the house or have things to do, but also meet other families. I think that's one of the great things about the activities in Alpharetta is it's a very indoor-outdoor lifestyle community without the hustle and bustle of the city. So whether you have kids or no kids, you can always kind of find your tribe and get an opportunity to meet people, whether it's just out at the green space, in one of the parks, the local breweries, the restaurants, all of the concerts that get put on. And that's really kind of what makes it have this community feel. As far as concerts go, this is where things get really interesting. There's a bunch of different festivals that happen in downtown Alpharetta. You have Brewfest, a wine festival, Wire and Wood Music Festival. As far as Avalon goes, you have the music that they do most weekend nights, especially during the summer, in their green space, which is covered. So people just bring seating and blankets and kind of just enjoy that atmosphere as well. We also have Amerisbank Amphitheater, which attracts decent talent. So if it's not something where you want to go all the way to the city to catch, a play at Fox Theater or go down to the State Farm Arena or Benz Stadium for an event, you do have a lot of very talented artists that perform up in the Amerisbank Amphitheater, which is right in Alpharetta as well. And we touched on it a little bit before with the location, but as far as outdoor activities go, again, we do have all of those wineries that are easily accessible. If going up to northern Georgia is not in the cards, you want something a little bit closer, there is actually Painted Horse Winery that is right in Alpharetta. We have Fermented, which is in the downtown Alpharetta Square. They do wine tastings, they have flights, they have local ownership of more smaller batch things that you can get. You can drink there, take with you, and support local businesses. And then again, Lake Lanier. If you just want to get out and do some boating or fishing, that is very accessible. Now, one of the biggest things that a lot of people come here for is going to be the public schools. We have a wide range of schools available, whether it's on the public or private side. But as far as public schools go, there are plenty of great options that if you go to greatschools.org are going to see that are ranking 8 and 9 across the board as far as how they handle their academic profile, teacher makeup. I would highly encourage anyone that has kids to kind of dig into that a little bit and get a feel for everything. That's one of the reasons we love living here. I have 2 girls under 3 at the moment, but we came here with the thought in mind of being able to utilize that public school system and are super excited about that as well. Now, for me, obviously being in real estate, the biggest pro that I have found is the real estate up here. We came in looking for very family-friendly communities, and those are all over the place as far as Alpharetta goes. There's kind of something for everyone. You have your country clubs if you're looking to be on the golf course. You have your executive style communities. You have gated communities. You're going to have entry-level communities, townhouses, and pricing is absolutely across the board. So there's no shortage of finding something that really caters towards everyone's needs as far as housing goes. A lot of the families were built with swing tennis in mind. So you're going to find a swimming pool, tennis courts, pickleball across most of them. And then as they get a little bit larger, they may have playgrounds, basketball courts, and just larger recreational spaces with clubhouses. If anyone has specific questions about communities as a whole or what it's like living in Georgia, feel free to shoot me a message. I have lived all over the place in Atlanta. I've sold a home in almost every town in a 50-mile radius of the city, and I really specialize in helping people identify what part of greater Atlanta would align with them based on their lifestyle and what things they're looking to accomplish. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, no obligation, and at least just help people get more familiar with the area. Unfortunately, with the real estate market having such an upward trajectory the past few years, yes, that's been wonderful for home prices and owners that are living here, but the downside is that it has made the area a little bit less affordable as a whole. Now, I come from New York City, so Atlanta is still relatively affordable compared to other metros, but I do think people are finally seeing the value in being here and what greater Atlanta and Alpharetta have to offer, and that is just driving up values. Now, as we've kind of seen the pricing come out of the pandemic era and we are seeing things stabilize. As this is being recorded in July of 2024, if we look at Atlanta as a whole, our northern Georgia sales are still far and away outpacing a lot of the inner city and other suburbs. So it's kind of a testament to the fact that it is a very desirable area with a lot to offer and kind of provides that value that everyone is looking for. I would love to see there be a little bit more development on the entry-level side. I know a lot of the builders are still kind of catering to that. They're building smaller single-family homes or more accessible townhouses and trying to get more inventory out there. But with the Alpharetta being so large, depending on where you want to be on the east side or west side, there are still a lot of entry level and first time home buyer opportunities. And I think that's something that's super exciting to get into a wonderful area and not necessarily be priced out of it. On the flip side of that, if you're looking for raw land or an equestrian estate or larger properties, that is something that we have as well, especially as we go a little bit north of Alpharetta into Milton. You can find plenty of opportunities to get land, custom built homes, and really satisfy that need of people that are looking for something maybe a little bit more specific or on the luxury sector as well. Now, as promised, I have compiled all of my favorite things in Alpharetta into one tool for you guys. In the description below, I've provided a link to my downloadable Alpharetta guide, which will have all of my favorite things about the areas, hyperlinks out with all the additional information, and really just have that be a tool for anyone relocating to the area to get familiar with things and kind of understand a little bit more of what it's like to live here. I am always happy to answer any questions. And if you found this content valuable, I would encourage you to like and subscribe to the channel. We are going to be covering all things Alpharetta from here on out. I am going to focus specifically on this area and the surrounding towns because it is my specialty and what I love about living in greater Atlanta. Honestly, I wish I moved north to these suburbs a little bit sooner. So happy to answer any questions. Thanks for stopping by and look forward to connecting with you all soon.